in keeping with the theme of monsters for this month, in the spirit of Halloween, I decided it's time to look at King Kordax. And one thing I'll mention is that I had this guy in the box since that short that I uploaded a while ago. He's just been in the box. I never took him out. And before I started recording this video, I unboxed him just to get everything out so I didn't have to do it on camera because it could be a hassle sometimes. And with that said, today we'll be looking at a character who I think was more of just a generic villain in the movie. There wasn't really much significance to him outside of the fact that the figure itself is nicely sculpted, and that's it. Like, I still remember watching this movie and I was not impressed with what they did with his character. He didn't even get to fight Aquaman at the end. He just got up from his throne, caught his trident, and then Aquaman just threw his trident and destroyed the black trident and then just destroyed him too with it. And that was it. That's the end of this character. So, yeah. I apologize for the bad lighting because I'm recording this at night than I usually do in the daytime. But it fits the theme of the spookiness of Halloween, recording something at night, right? So, with that said, I think it's time we take a look at this figure. And who is King Kordax? Well, I will tell you this. I don't even know who King Kordax is. And, well, the wiki, or not the wiki, the profile card that he comes with, which is just an artwork of him. Not even a render of what he looks like in the movie. Just a picture that's drawn. Okay. His name is Kordax. A huge brute and a true conqueror, Kordax dons ceremonial armor and wields a powerful magical dark energy that could ultimately prove deadly to both sea and surface dwellers. Well, that doesn't explain who he is. Well, okay, I'll say a little bit of who he is because I'm using the things I remember from the movie. I think he was the brother of King Atlanta. I think that was the name of the first king of Atlantis. I could be completely wrong. But, you know, that character that Aquaman got his trident from, right? That gold trident from the first movie. The original person who owned it. His brother, I believe, is Kordax, if I remember correctly in the film. And Kordax finds this dark green power and abuses it. And eventually that power corrupts him and mutates him and his people into monstrosities. And this is why he looks exactly like this. So, yeah. Okay. Since I have everything zoomed in, we might as well look at the figure and his details. So, I think for a figure like this, the details are pretty good, right? Like, you have nice sculpt work here, and I don't think any of these parts are reused. I could be wrong, maybe they are, but they don't look like they're reused. They look like new sculpted parts. And you can see these details like going around everywhere on his body, right? Like everything is just very sea monster like, which is why it fits the theme of Halloween, because, you know, it's a sea monster, or the monster from the Black Lagoon, right? Like that kind of thing. So he gives me those kind of vibes. And then you can see his hands too. Let me just show his hands as well. Yeah, very monster-like, right? Mixed in with like sea creature. And then if you look at his head, that's a really good looking head. Like the way they sculpted this head with the textures and everything, I really like the way it came out. So, oh, and also I do want to bring this up. It's really random. Since I've finally unboxed him, I can smell that new smell that comes out of like these figures when you take them out. That sweet smell that exists on these figures. I don't know if it's sweet. It smells like something sweet. But yeah, that smell of a new action figure is always like nice to be able to smell. It's so random. Okay. Yeah. And of course, he grips his trident pretty well, actually. He doesn't have any issues gripping it. It's easy to take it off of his hands, and that's exactly what we are going to do. So we can show the trident. So the trident is just all one color. It's literally just black. There's nothing else to it. There is details on it, but it's very minute. So you can have King Kordax holding this, or you can have Black Manta holding it. So there's that. And here we are, having this figure in hand, and he looks cool. I don't regret getting him now. I remember for a while I just never wanted to buy this figure, which is ironic because when they announced this wave back then, I remembered that in my mind I was like, the only figure I'm getting is this weird King Kordax guy because he looks cool. Everything else looks like meh. And and then I changed my mind, and now I changed my mind again. So yeah, that's kind of funny. So but outside of that, there's not really anything else going on with the figure in terms of its like sculpt work outside of all the stuff you see in the front. Like the cape is kind of cool, but again, one thing I've noticed is that this figure does kind of suffer from some paint. Like, it just feels like they could have used another layer of maybe like a wash over the textures to make it darken in some areas, so then it kind of looks cooler. And then the skirt piece like this, right, and the cape, they could have maybe added a little bit more paint to that so it could break up some areas. I don't know, that's just my opinion on what they could have done to make it look good, because everything right now just looks the same as like one color from head to toe, right? So, but again, if I want to do something to customize it, I can. So yeah. All right, for comparisons, because I want to compare this figure with someone else from the wave. So the only other figure I have from this movie was from my first review I ever made on this channel, is the Black Manta. And in that video, I remember saying I didn't want this Black Manta, but I got it because this Black Manta is the closest thing to the Black Manta that I know when it comes to his design. And I do not regret getting this figure. So now that I have this figure, the Kordax figure, I can also give Black Manta the Triton. I'm not going to show it on camera because his hands are a pain to put things in, so maybe I'll post an image in the community tab posts in the future. But yeah, that's a comparison with Black Manta. And if we want to compare him with somebody else, who else do we want to? Oh, why not? This is random. Well, there he is next to Buzz Lightyear. So yeah, he's taller than Buzz Lightyear. So there's that. But yeah, that is King Kordax. Like, he's just a very cool looking monster, right? You can use him for anything. You don't even have to use him for your DC shelf. If you have like a monster type of shelf where you just have a lot of like characters that have monster features, you could just put them in that shelf and it'll still work, because that's just how like niche this character is, that it's just, you say his name to anybody, they probably be like, who the hell is that? Who is King Kordax? I don't know King Kordax. You don't know King Kordax, except for what you saw in the movie. And with every time I watch everything that has Aquaman related to it, they never bring up King Kordax. It's always just Aquaman and Ocean Master, right? In most of the media that I see for Aquaman, it's always like, oh, Ocean Master hates his stepbrother because his stepbrother is like a half human, half Atlantean, so, you know, etc., etc. It's always the feud between the brothers of the modern period, never anything else related to it from the past. So this is why when they chose to use this guy as kind of like the villain for this movie, I kind of tuned out, because I just, you know, so. Oh, and of course, now we can get into the articulation section before I end this video. Articulation is kind of standard on this guy. Again, he will have hindrance on his shoulders because these pieces do get in the way of articulation. So you're not going to be able to lift his arms up too much, which kind of sucks. He does have double jointed articulation with the arms. And swivel, so that works. His head does turn, as I've shown in looking at the sculpt. So it does turn. It does look up a little bit, not completely, because again, this back piece, the sculpt on here hinders it. Can he look down? No, he can barely look down. So that's a bummer. And because this figure is brand new, I haven't taken him out until now. Certain places might be tight, so... Oh! That moves pretty good. Can ab crunch a little bit. But he can kind of lean back too. Oh, okay. I'm impressed. Can his waist move? Okay, his waist can also move a little bit, but like I said, very tight. And as for his legs, yes, this is another instance of a figure having a skirt piece. So because he has a skirt piece in front, you're not going to be doing any kicks with this. This is as much as he'll go. And his double joint, let's get at least one leg to show the double joint. Yeah, not pretty because of the sculpting of the knees. So yeah, not someone you would probably put in action poses. And the way they sculpt this is feet area. As you can see, they've done this on numerous figures. Because of the way that the sculpt is down here, you're not going to get this leg to kick out, or to, not kick out, I mean to move much. So that hinders it. It can rock side to side. He does have toe articulation. So everything still works to some degree. And one last thing, his hand can rotate because it has the ball peg sort of setup. And there you have it, a look at King Kordax, a figure that I have neglected for a couple weeks just to save him for the theme of monsters for this month. Yeah, he will go good with the monster side of things on my shelf, I guess. He'll fit right in with the zombies and the vampires in the DC shelf. So, with that, I hope you enjoyed this shorter video. And I'll see you in the next review as usual. So, take care and bye.